Welcome again to Information and Insights. I'm Dr. Stephen Hampe, candidate for the Rome City School District's Board of Education. Before I address a new question, I want to make it clear that if returned to the board, I would be more than happy to continue answering questions in this format. When I began my previous term, I did arrange a meet and greet for newly elected members of the Board of Education, Common Council, and County Legislature. I created dedicated Facebook and Twitter accounts. Before anyone even contemplated COVID, I advocated that the Board of Education and the Common Council adopt more accessible procedures for live streaming meetings and providing citizens with the means to review proposals and provide comment without needing to physically show up at a meeting. I worked to attend every school's open house, and during my presidential year, encouraged my board colleagues to do the same, and then also each adopt a school and act as the board's point person for that building to share their accomplishments and activities. I was initially encouraged to hear that this year the board had started such a program. Well, unfortunately, it quickly fizzled out. Now, the latest question is a direct comment to an earlier video and is a bit raw, which is understandable given its message. What steps does the board do to be more inclusive of our diverse population? I've had to go and fight for my kids at times because they're getting bullied, and as the brown kids, they're the only ones sitting in the principal's office when they fight back. The board has said more people of color have to complain, but what does that do? How will you handle this? Now, right off the bat, I want to make it very clear. No one should ever be told that more complaints are needed before a concern is addressed. On the issues of equity and diversity, I did speak to those during the NAACP event and have referenced them in previous videos. But I will begin by acknowledging I know I come from a particular cultural background and upbringing, which provide a rather specific perspective. Now, that said, throughout my life, I continue to work to expand my experiences and perspectives. It started with bringing my inner-city ambulance EMT experiences to my pediatric mental health counselor colleagues in a suburban hospital. When I taught high school in New York City, I was usually the minority in the classroom, but oddly not in the teacher's room. I'm not suggesting that my insights are perfect or all-encompassing, but I do make an active effort to broaden my horizons beyond my own personal experiences. In that spirit, during my previous term, I was on the forefront of amplifying lesser-heard voices and perspectives by things such as making the anti-hatred resolution happen after the KKK recruitment incidents in 2017, proposing and beginning the process of adding a student member to the board, visiting and engaging various community groups, and serving as a charter member of the Equity Task Force. Now, sadly, recruiting a more diverse faculty remains a significant challenge. I represented the district at a roundtable with now New York State Education Commissioner Betty Rosa, where Board of Education reps from across the state all expressed an urgent desire for more diverse faculties. But it cannot be ignored that unfortunately a teaching career has been losing its appeal long before the unprecedented challenges of COVID. Too many in America treat teachers as scapegoats for most every societal failing. Are there some who should not be working as teachers? Yes, of course. The same is true of every profession. But that doesn't explain the too vitriolic disdain that some express toward teachers. Now, in that climate, how do you encourage young people in underrepresented communities to choose this as a career? There's also the troubling reality that in the past, there were inappropriate promises made to people asking for more teachers of color in the classroom. It is simply against the law to give particular groups preference in hiring. It's been suggested that incentives should be offered. Now, if that plan passed legal muster, from where would the funds come? Would it be acceptable to, say, eliminate varsity basketball or an elementary school TA to fund such an initiative? So what can be done? Realistically, it will take an active and ongoing program of advocacy and encouragement from within all segments of the community to encourage young people of diverse backgrounds to become teachers and then settle and teach in Rome. Moving to address the concerns about bullying and how it's handled. Back in the day, I was on the receiving end of such treatment, and when my parents were called to the principal's office, the message was that I needed to toughen up. Thankfully, much of that has changed since then. But still, it can't be denied that no one goes into education wanting a significant portion of their job to involve being an investigator. While awareness of the negative ramifications of bullying have improved significantly, When such things are reported to the administration, it still largely ends up being a their word against yours situation. Now, today, we do have the benefit of security videos and the like, so there has been a shift away from the early zero tolerance, all involved get punished attitudes and practices. Today, there is a concerted effort to ensure that the perpetrators are punished appropriately, while those victimized are not penalized for the act of defending themselves. Does that mean all the judgments are always perfect? No, sadly, of course not. But efforts are being made. There has been an anonymous bullying reporting portal on the district website. The PBIS program works to empower the vulnerable to speak up and bystanders to be more active in intervening. The counseling department, supplemented by the Connected Community Schools program, provides supportive services. But the board could have prioritized revising the Code of Conduct to appropriately address continuing concerns and adapt to new challenges. That process has only just started moving forward after being stalled for nearly a year. Making sure that that process is completed with as many voices heard as possible is the best contribution a Board of Education member can make. It is perfectly understandable that when it's your child being impacted, your primary concern as a parent is going to be the well-being of your child. But at the same time, this is a prime opportunity to get involved. If you can't, for example, join the committee that is revising the Code of Conduct, at least make your concerns known to members of the board, and then check in and make sure that your representatives are actually representing your and your child's interests. Thank you for the question, and I hope I've answered it fully. This has been Information and Insights. I'm Dr. Stephen Hampe, and I hope to return and continue to work to represent the best interests of all in the community. So I again ask for your vote next Tuesday, May 18th, for the Rome City School District's Board of Education.